Siege Onager! Oh my god! What? What? Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Games of the Week. This is going to be between Nicov and Xiofan. I believe this matchup was played on Monday, February something something. And yeah, let's see how this game's going to go. I think... Ooh, did I turn my scroll... Yeah, I did turn my scroll speed up. I was playing some games earlier. Usually, I don't play too many games. So there we go. Hopefully that'll be easier for you to see. I love these colors. That's obviously why I chose this recording, green and red. What a nice contrast on the map. I don't like to use team colors too much, if you haven't noticed. But let's talk a little bit about these players. So we have Nicov here, considered by many at some parts to be like the #2 player or #3 player by many. I think he is still considered like one among the best, maybe top 5, top 6 in 1 versus 1 settings. And of course he's part of AM, who's a relatively successful. They're getting better and better in ECL, and they're improving a lot. So Nicov is an extremely formidable 1 versus 1 opponent, and he's currently sitting at 2550, playing as the Berbers. Down in the bottom right, in red, we have Xiofan. Xiofan is a Chinese player that's been around for a long time. I believe he's played in the Nations Cups, but I can't be 100% sure. A lot of us in the English community are not as familiar with a lot of the Chinese players as we should be. So hopefully we can learn something from Xiofan. It certainly rings some bells as far as the name goes. But Xiaofan's playing as the Aztecs. So we have an Aztecs versus Berbers matchup. I think that's a little interesting. Since this is recording, I'm going to go to 60 speed. Hopefully I'll remember that for the future games. Squid Pro saying hello. I like how that rings off of my tongue. Hello, Squid Pro. Xiofan going to lure his boar. And we can talk about the Civ matchup and the maps, now that we've talked about the players. As Nicov is going to go out, it looks like he's found all of his resources and is going to find his opponent. So Nicov is playing as the Berbers. He's got 3 on this backwood line. He's got a berries that is extremely close to this town center. This area is all secure, so that's very nice. This gold is not very nice, and neither is the stone because they're towards Xiaofan's base, which means that they could be hittable later on in the game. Nicov is going to try to defend that with some walls in the front. However, it's going to take a lot of resources to wall the entire thing, and this villager, of course, is vulnerable. However, Nicov is playing as the Berbers, so I'm sure that villager should be able to get away should Xiaofan's scout come in that area. That's one of the bonuses of the Berbers. Right side's fairly open, but I think it could make some walls. Overall, not a terrible map for Nicov, as Arabia is known for having terrible maps. And with the Berbers' playstyle, I expect scouts, possibly men-at-arms, because he's playing against the Aztecs, and that seems to be pretty meta to go men-at-arms versus scouts versus men-at-arms meso-civilizations. This was something I heard Tato say earlier in the week. That's kind of an unwritten rule, that you don't go scouts against meso, for whatever reason. And later on into the game, we can see camel archers, which should be strong against eagles, I think, as long as you get good enough mass. Or knights should be pretty decent. Their cavalier is not the best in the game, however, it is cheaper, and the Aztecs don't, of course, get halberdier, although they get good monks. So I like the Berbers in this matchup. The Aztecs are considered probably the best Arabia civilization, if not top 3. And I think the Berbers are considered like maybe top 10, but I think they play pretty well in this matchup. Such that this should be a pretty even matchup in my opinion. The Aztecs are most well known for their great economy. They've got a lot of great bonuses. Their great economy, villagers carry 5 more resources. They also have a great military with all their buildings creating faster, 17% faster. Their monks get extra HP upgrades and they collect gold from relics faster. Those are nice bonuses, but we probably won't see them too much. And another big one, they start with 50 extra gold, which means they could pull off a 5 militia rush, putting a lot of pressure on their opponent early. You'll always have to game plan against that if you're playing against the Aztecs. And we'll see how Nicov reacts to that. Taking a look at Xiaofan's map, he's got a very, very nice cliff here. Looks like Mongolia almost, where he can wall here and be perfectly safe, and his gold is looking good, his wood is looking good. He has some forward stones, which is my only concern, and he doesn't have another wood line that is close to his town center. This is the next closest one. However, as far as Arabia maps go, both of Nikov's and Xiaofan's maps look pretty good. And it looks like Nicov is, in fact, not going to match the men-at-arms of Xiofan. In fact, maybe Xiaofan's a little bit late. Hard to tell. Instead, Nicov is going to go with a scout rush. I'm going to place the barracks a little bit late. That way, with 2 villagers, it comes up on time. Would be late if he was building with 1 villager. And Nikov's got a very nice wood line once again. Oh, Eagle's going to run into the town center, and it's going to take quite a few arrows. There were not a lot of villagers under that town center, so that Eagle did get out of there alive. Not a nice thing to lose so much HP on your scout. And these villagers shouldn't be too worried. I know they don't want to be delayed. Yeah, if they were delayed, maybe these militia could have came in under the stable. But here comes Xiaofan's Drush. It's going to be seen. What you want to do is you kind of want to sneak them in. And now these villagers are going to be able to run away. They are Berbers villagers. Oh, they're going to attack a little bit and then run away. Oh, there's the men-at-arms upgrade. But again, these are Berbers villagers. They'll be able to run back quickly. And that men-at-arms upgrade came in very quickly. In fact, Xiofan has not added 2 extra militia, which he could have. So only opting for a 3 men-at-arms rush. Which I don't like so much. Why not go 5 men-at-arms and start attacking the stable, which is so far forward? Or add spearmen now and keep adding men-at-arms until that stable is down. A lot of farms from Xiofan. You usually don't see that many farms. And let's see if there's going to be an engagement here as this Wolfie is going to chase down these men-at-arms. Spearman is coming forward, but I think he's going to be too late. Oh, Scout's going to go down. Apparently not. Once that Spearman gets mixed in, then those men-at-arms will be much more formidable. Nicov has already taken the next step to dealing with those men-at-arms, and he's going to add an archery range. And as I was saying, Xiaofan's got a lot of farms this early, which means either he's going to go Eagles, or he's going to be later to build that archery range. In fact, Xiaofan's going to go forward. He's got a very strong army. It's not very mobile, though, so these villagers will have to stay well protected by the Spearmen. And even that archery range could be at risk if a tower comes up in this area. 2 skirmishers right away from Nicov. Nicov has 50 gold. I would have gone with an archer first. Two skirmishers are not going to scare off these men-at-arms. Especially if a tower comes up. Oh boy. Oh boy. Another eagle going to be made. Help deal with the skirmishers, I assume. And now we have villagers in the area for Nicov. What are these villagers doing? Oh. Ooh. I thought they were going to run into the town center for a second there. Scout's going to come around, and this could be a very good fight for either player. Depending on how it goes, tower's going to get placed. And I think there's enough here for Nicov to take it if this tower's not already up. However, the tower's already 50% of the way up. Nikov's going to counter tower. He's got 7 villagers here. There's 4 building this tower. Looks like the towers will be up at the same time. And let's see what these villagers do. That villager's going to get very low. I think a few times we've seen this Berber bonus where the villagers walk faster come into effect. And really helping Nicov in this situation. Alright, looks like this tower's going to go down, and that could be 4 lost villagers for Xiofan, and that would put him heavily behind in the game. 2 villagers going to stay in the tower, 2 going to run away. And down goes that tower. So that was a very unsuccessful attempt. I think Xiofan should have probably made a 4th and 5th militia in the Dark Age, if he could afford it, of course. And just went for that stable right away and tried to take it down as soon as possible. And I think from that point, you could probably come forward with a tower and then put a tower on the gold, and that should have worked. There is a tower on the right side, though, so I don't know if a tower would have been worth it. Either way. Xiofan going straight into Eagles. He doesn't want to go into the archer line. That's typically the meta of the Aztecs. And I would have liked to see archers. This is certainly a very defensible map. I don't think Eagle Warriors are going to give you too much against a cavalry civilization. You should do okay here, because they've got +1 armor now. But it's certainly a very interesting decision to go into Eagle Warriors. I think that Xiofan probably just wanted to go up to the next age sooner. So didn't want to invest into an archery range and a well, you got the blacksmith up, obviously. Nikov's going to wall his right side of the map. It looks like he's going to go for camel archers. Going to add another stable. So this is good play. I like this a lot. I think go a few knights in the beginning. Maybe force your opponent to tech into pikemen. Really scare him with knights. And then drop a castle. But I don't think the castle has to be rushed. Market coming up from Xiofan. Both players will be up to the castle age pretty soon. Nicov is trying to get as much value out of these scouts as possible by, you know, forcing reactions like this. Both players clicking up to the castle age at nearly identical times. Interestingly, Xiofan is still mining a lot of stone. And he's already got 300 stone in the bank. It's not going to be for Jaguar Warriors, I can assume you. In fact, I expect Xiofan maybe to sell some of that stone. We'll keep an eye on that. Bloodlines coming in for Nicov. That'll be great for knights. 3 stable knights. You never see this from other civilizations, or at least I don't think it's worth it for other civilizations. But since the Berbers knights are so cheap, I think off of 46 villagers, you could probably pump them 3 stables, at least for some time. 2.5 stables, probably. Nicov, it looks like he's taken 1 villager off of stone. Again, he's not in any rush to get this castle up. I'd be curious to see if Nicov, after all of this, is going to place a forward castle, as he should have a much stronger and much larger military than Xiofan, who's gone purely into eagles. Is Nicov even at shape in the moment? Long time no see. Nikov's been playing a lot of games in ECL, so I have to assume he's in good shape. I think one thing that has happened for all players is that the skill level has risen for all players, so I think Nicov is as good as he's ever been. However, some other players might have risen with him as well. But regardless, I think Nikov's got enough practice with AM that he should be in top shape. Nicov with Bowsaw. So players teching into the armies that we see before us. But you have to think, look at Nicov, he's even got... this never happens for other civilizations. He's got like 2 or 3 knights in each stable. As soon as he hits the castle age, these knights are so heavily discounted. And there's a few light cav here, might be worth... There's a few scouts, might be worth to upgrade to light cav. And maybe just a few more knights and can go under that tower and wreck everything. Stable for Xiofan, great decision considering how strong the Aztec Knights are and how strong the Berbers Knights are, I suppose. And how strong the Aztec monks are. Xiaofan's done a good job keeping his army count up. And this is a key thing for anyone. Oh! That monk, a little bit far forward. Is it going to get a conversion? It does, so it pays for itself. And this is going to be a good fight for Xiofan. He's got the hill. He's got more numbers. This is a good lesson for anyone playing this game, is even if you're not in the perfect army composition, even if you're making the wrong unit, you still gotta make that unit. Like, don't just stop and try to tech into another unit so quickly because you'll die. And as you can see here, the numbers of the Eagle Warriors able to push back the Knights of Nicov. However, the Knights should get stronger over time. Monastery coming up from Nicov. I think he wants to heal those Knights and get some relics. You want to take those relics away from the Aztecs, and this is very impressive. Again, I'm just impressed by the civilization, the Berbers. We had 3 stable knights coming out. Now they're all idle, to be honest, because we have 3 town centers from Nicov. But it's impressive he got 3 town centers up. And Xiaofan's only on 2 town centers, going up to a 3rd, but Nicov is 10 villagers ahead. And why is this? I think that Nicov really scared his opponent, Xiofan. Xiofan has to make a lot more Eagle Warriors than Nicov has to make Knights. And because of that, Nicov is in the driver's seat. Nicov can at any point say, okay, I'm going to discontinue knights, I'm going to invest into town centers, whereas Xiofan has to defend. And here's a castle for Xiofan. This is another factor. You don't want a castle up as Aztecs, especially if you're not going to go Jaguar Warriors. So this is a big drain onto Xiaofan's economy. Is Eagle Warrior bad against knights? Yes, Eagle Warrior is bad against knights, generally speaking, but if you have enough Eagle Warriors, it works out, just like any other unit. And here's that castle for Nicov. Nikov's looking in a good position. He could go knights, but he could also go camel archers. And in fact, Nicov is going to look for a second castle pretty soon as well. So Eagle Warriors get an attack bonus versus knights. However, it's not very big. It's like 2 or 3, which helps to even it out a bit. So for the most part, it depends on numbers. However, the Berbers also get a discount on their knights, which is why I heavily favor their knights. But here's that castle. We'll have to see Bracer and Bodcanero come on these camel archers, but the rest of the upgrades are done. We have Bloodlines and Husbandry done. And I'm sure that camel archers, especially with the combo with knights, can take on the Eagle Warriors. And even help out against the monks. So at this point, it looks like Xiofan might have more army value. Although it should be a pretty close fight. Yeah, it looks pretty even, actually. That's a lot of knights. And Xiofan is just going to see that castle. He should run back. I hope he's got squires on those eagles. Oh no, the monks are slowing everything down, and they're going to get towards the back. So Xiaofan's forced to take an engagement. He's going to try to use those monks to get a more favorable engagement, but I don't think it's going to be worth it. Or maybe 2 conversions, and now Xiaofan's lost all of his army. I think that answers your question, Squid Pro. Or Pro. As Mem would say, where are the eagles? I don't see the eagles. Where did they go? You wouldn't have guessed it because of the spears the warriors have. Yeah, Age of Empires is not always the most intuitive game ever. There's a video on YouTube, actually, I watched. This guy does medieval weapons commentaries, and actually he did like sparring, like 4-on-4, 1-on-1, spearmen versus swordsmen. Basically, who was better in combat, and the spearmen were better each way. So if this was more realistic, I think the pikemen would actually counter infantry. Obviously not the case. Rest in peace, brave Eagle boys. Yes, rest in peace. Xiaofan's looking in a very bad position this game. He still has an inferior army. Going to go into pikemen, which should handle the knights, but what do you do against the camel archers, which should be coming up pretty soon? I haven't seen any yet. Not to mention, Nicov has a superior economy, up by 15 villagers. And Nikov's also going to the Imperial Age, so this is like 3 bonuses for Nicov. There's 3 bonuses you could have in Age of Empires, maybe 4. You count map control. But the 3 bonuses you can have are technology, economy, and military. And Nicov has 3 out of those 4 bonuses. Possibly the 4th if you argue map control. So I said this should be a pretty good game. However, Nikov's got a significant advantage. And he's going to start massing up camels. Xiofan was able to click up at a good time. Remember, the Aztecs, of course, have an economy bonus, which does aid their farmers quite a bit. And it looks like... what is Xiofan going to do? Okay, if you tech into pikemen, you're going to die against the camel archers. If you tech into eagle warriors, maybe you die to all those knights. I think eagle warriors is probably the better bet. And just try to afford that Garland Wars upgrade so those eagles can do as best as possible. Now for eagle warriors, Xiaofan's going to need more gold. He's going to need this gold, which is relatively unprotected. That castle's too far away. I don't mind that stone. I'm going to take that gold, but there still needs to be more gold income for Xiofan to make this work. Nikov's going to research Casbah right away to make sure his castles can build camel archers faster. And those pikemen have no chance against those camel archers at all. Nikov's going to take the map control and take an extra gold. Relics, we have 1 for Nicov, 2 for Xiofan. Nicov going to get all the upgrades, going to upgrade his Knights to Cavalier as well. I think that's a great decision. And he's going to move around on this right side. Looks like Xiofan is aware of this. So we could see a raid here. Could get some lumberjacks and some gold miners. And here we go. First big raid. Let's see how Xiaofan's reaction time is going to be. It's going to be a little late. And a lot of those villagers should go down. In fact, going to go straight after that town center. That town center will go down in an instant. We have a lot of monks for Xiofan, however, they're not very mobile. And let's check out the villager count. So right now it's 5 behind for Xiofan. Didn't lose too many villagers, but did lose the town center. And this is the nice part about the mobility of Nikov's army. I don't know what he was doing with these villagers. And the pikemen are going to cut off this choke point. We have... Oh, boy! We have another army of monks. You can't go towards the left. You're going to have to run into the pikemen or away from the pikemen. Let's see how much damage these pikemen can do. 1 camel archer was converted. Those pikemen could get a lot of shots off on this cavalier. That was a good fight for Xiofan. And a lucky one, too. Without these cliffs, Nicov would have been able to just run around that army. And now we have Garland Wars coming in. And Blast Furnace as well for this infantry. So this infantry is fully upgraded. And should be quite formidable. For the time being, anyway. Xiofan actually taking the initiative to try to tread down that castle. Of course, doesn't have the army. Now we have Elite Camel Archer coming in. I don't know what Nicov was planning. Nicov was taking that extra gold and decided to move those villagers to the right. Maybe it was a misclick? I'm not sure. Alright, so this hill is going to be very critical for Xiofan. Xiofan should have enough stone for a castle if he hasn't been selling it. 2,000 stone, in fact. I hope he uses that soon. Now, those pikemen will not do too well against the Cavalier. They're pikemen and not halberdiers, so they don't get the big attack bonus that we're used to. And look at this, 2 trebs parking right next to each other. Who will win? Looks like Xiaofan's treb will go down. So Xiofan needs... I bet he hasn't seen that gold. Yeah, hasn't seen that gold. He needs to find that gold. And that relic as well. And if Xiofan can control that, control this hill, and control this gold, which he's placing a castle on, then he should be in a good shape to win this game, even though he probably has the inferior army. And these monks on the hill are very strong. Unless they get killed by the light count. Oh, let's see some conversions. Oh, none of these monks have faith. Okay, a lot of them have faith now. Xiofan just needs the army. He needs something to work against these camel archers. That's either going to be the monks or the eagle warriors. So Xiaofan's mined a lot of stone this game and not put it to any use. I bet he wishes he mined the same amount of gold. I'm going to try to target down that treb. And that's a lot of camel archers. I don't know if he can contend with that. Looks like Xiaofan's going to try for some raiding on each of the sides. There are some castles in nice positions that really helps for defense. However, this, again, is such a great move for Xiofan to take over that extra gold. So Xiofan needs to hold this hill. Needs to destroy that trebuchet. I think he will get it. There's no villagers repairing it, really. Just this one guy. Looks like it's not going to matter. The camel archers are just going to run in because Xiofan doesn't have enough army. The monks are going to get some conversions. 1 conversion, 2 conversions. So many camel archers. Oh, Onager was teched. I didn't even see that. I wasn't expecting that play. So Onager will take down the trebuchet. Castle will stay up. Can the Onager get a big shot on the camel archers? Siege Onager! Oh my god. What? What? I was not expecting that at all, and there's still 1,500 gold left over. Oh my god. This is an upgrade you hardly see in a 1 versus 1 Arabia. And it can work. Still, these Hussar will be able to pick off the Siege Onagers, you have to imagine. So Xiofan should be pushing down these castles, hopefully, with Siege Ram. Needs to find that gold. Needs to get Siege Engineers as well for the extra 1 range. And where... My question is, where are the more trebuchets from Nicov? Nicov had only 1 trebuchet attacking this castle. Why not build 2 or 3? I guess he was focusing on massy camel archers, but that's a big mistake. I think that castle should be down. I don't think that outpost will be able to see that gold quite yet. So Trebuchet is going to focus on this castle here. Oh, there's almost no gold left on there, so that castle's not as useful as it was. Xiafan's already mined out all that gold. These Aztec pikemen are getting the job done, surprisingly. Where are all the camel archers? Oh, they're doing a big raid. Looks like a lot of camel archers were lost to eagles, or the town center. As that's not as big of a ball as we saw before. I don't know if this raid was worth it. Xiofan now has more villagers, so I'm pretty sure this raid wasn't worth it. And I said about 10 minutes ago, it looked like Nicov had all the advantages, but Xiofan, I think, is definitely winning this, despite what the score says. I think the score's that way because the KD ratio is heavily in Nikov's favor. The castle does go down, but there's no more gold left. There's 13 gold left. Xiofan still has enough stone for another castle. He's got the Siege Onager upgrade. I don't see any Siege Onagers. I don't know if that was worth it. So if these Siege Onagers don't get a massive hit on Camel Archers or something along those lines, then they definitely aren't worth it. There's a few here. And I noticed no more Camel Archers. Oh, there they are. I think it probably would have been better to save those resources. I was Xiofan. Let's see what he's going to be able to do with Siege Onagers. Certainly, if he wants to go after the castles, the Siege Onagers will help a lot in defense. You just need pikemen around the trebuchets. These castles are on top of a hill, however, and they do have Casbah, so they can build more trebuchets quicker. Oh, that's going to be a good play. Is this outpost going to be made? Doesn't look like it. Oh. Yeah, this is going to be an important part of the game. If those villagers can make that outpost, then Xiofan will see that last remaining gold. The counter! Yes, the counter. So first castle goes down. We have 3 castles remaining. No, 4 castles remaining. There's another one I don't see. Here it is. Everything about late game, everything that I know about late game should be saying that Nicov should be winning this game with his army composition. It's much stronger. Camel Archers, Hussar, much stronger than Pikeman and Eagle Warrior in my opinion. It's just not working out. What Nicov could have done to make his position even better, I think that he could have focused more on the right side. Try to take away that gold from Nicov and build some stables. If he could have had a few stables and running Hussars into Xiaofan's eco, that would have been a lot better. Or could have just built more siege to take down this castle. I think this hill really played a big role for Xiofan and his defense. Alright, Xiofan gonna pressure these 2 castles now. And gonna find that last gold. They're both players with 2 relics currently. You have a relic down at the top of this base right there. Oh my god, Treb's sitting there instead of killing the castle. Yeah, I know. I know. Nice Siege Onager hits on the Hussars. You don't see that too often. Oh, let's see if we're gonna get another big Baba Boom. Oh, it's a pretty good knife. Micro, this is pretty dicey. 1 big hit. And 2 trebuchets parked on the hill. They might get taken out by the Siege Onagers, so this looks like it's going to be Xiaofan's game to lose. The Siege Onagers just running away from the trebuchets. Oh no. Oh, come on, attack the trebuchets. What are you doing? What are you doing? Attack with the siege onager. Alright, here we go. Here we go. No! What are you doing? Oh my god. Attack the trebuchets. Oh, what a waste. What a waste. Xiofan upgrading siege ram. Okay, those pikemen will clean up the hussars. We need more eagle warriors against these skirmishers. Xiofan should have enough gold for that with that extra gold mine down there. And let's see what's happening in the north. Oh, we have a siege ram and pikeman push. Very strong. Oh, this looks like a lot of army for Nicov. A lot of army. This trebuchet's got another castle down. But this is too much army for Nicov. Nicov is going to, in fact, push up this hill. First university of the game, I think, for Xiofan coming up. Probably for siege engineers. And Nikov's going to take this fight. He's going to take the hill. He's got 2 trebuchets already ready. And they should be able to hit that castle once again. We could be seeing a comeback. Again, late game, I like the Berbers' army composition much better. I think Berbers, again, had a great civ matchup in this game. Not too much gold left. So, really, it's... I mean, Xiofan has more gold income, but I'd rather have cheaper Hussar. I'd rather have Hussar, period. But yet alone, cheaper Hussar. The Skirms have pretty good upgrades. They do get Bracer. So at this point of the game, I'm liking Nicov once again. Looks like Xiaofan's exhausted a lot of his momentum. Imagine if those siege onagers took down these trebuchets. And I think this army composition, late game for the Berbers, is just going to be too strong. With the cheaper Hussar, the Aztecs not getting halberdier, the Aztecs, of course, not getting any cavalry. Looks like this trebuchet will go down, however. And this hill has been so big for Xiofan. It looks like we're going into a pretty late game. Xiofan has, of course, the upgrades on the rams. That's nice. I think going back, a big mistake again for Xiofan was that siege onager upgrade. Did we see one big hit with those siege onagers? No. The siege onager upgrade is, I believe, like 1,400 food and 1,600 gold. Something on the order of that magnitude. So no way that was worth it. If you want to make onager, fine. If you want to make siege engineers, fine. But siege onager is a whole nother story. So with 1,400 extra gold, you can make a lot of Eagle Warriors. You can make 28 Eagle Warriors, in fact. Yeah, the Trebs being undefended for so long would have easily killed them. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So we have a few rams on the right. I guess one advantage you could say. So we talked about those advantages earlier. Military... The numbers are pretty even. The quality is better from Nicov, in my opinion. Economy, probably about the same. But as far as map control goes, which is so important to late game, Xiofan has had that this entire late game. He's got, you know, barracks and siege workshops on the right side. He's got this giant hill in the middle of the map. Gonna push from this left side as well. About 65-70% of the map belongs to Xiofan, and he's going to use that to use this Treb to batter down this castle while still staying protected under the castle of Xiofan. The key for Nicov should be the raiding. Should have better raiders, as the Hussar don't cost any gold. However, one more castle will go down. This is not good for preventing the raiding. That castle is a very important one. Look at how many farms that this castle protects and how many villagers it protects. So with that down, that'll open up Nicov to raiding on the left side. Over on the right side, we do have another Hussar raid. Villager numbers are going down for both players. And no more action in the middle. I guess Nicov has given up over there. The population heavily favors Nicov. And it doesn't look like that. It looks like Xiofan should have the advantage. But I think that Nicov is going to be pushing back. Yeah, I think this game is going to go into Nikov's favor. So this bottom side's getting pushed back. There's no more army for Xiofan. And a big problem with that is not having great trash. So he hasn't teched into Skirmisher. Got full upgrades on the Pikemen. He can make Pikemen for days, but the Eagle Warriors cost 50 gold apiece. And here's the gold income from the relics. Make one Eagle Warrior about every, I don't know, 20 seconds, which is not nearly enough. And I think Nicov has this game. Just has the better army. Looks like he's retaking the map control. He's got the better raiding force. And he's going to come in towards the north to try to take back this area. Both players are going to focus here. I think Nicov should win this. He's not going to attack the barracks. Okay, he's going to attack the barracks. I take back what I said. We need a little siege from Nicov to be able to tear down these castles and these military production buildings. And Nicov going to go towards the north because he lost that fight pretty badly. He doesn't want the siege rams tearing everything up. So Nicov not being able to push, really, despite his larger army. And that's mostly due to not having enough siege. And there's still a lot of gold here. I mean, that's a lot of gold for this late stage of the game. It's like 400 gold. But that's like 2 trebuchets for Xiofan, so I would definitely get that. Now a few of the hussars coming into the middle of the map. Some of these wood lines are going to be running dry. So it's going to be more predictable where these villagers could be. This one's been raided all game. This one has a lot of barracks around it, so it should be safe. Xiofan taking in the long swordsman. What? Okay. So here's the problem with long swordsman. Everyone thinks he should be making long swordsman and champion late game because there's no more gold. And what's the best anti-trash unit? It's going to be champion, especially for the Aztecs. However, they still cost 20 gold apiece, so could be a problem. So basically, Xiofan has to make these long swordsmen by selling in his market, which he's probably not going to be doing a whole hell of a lot of. Oh my god, that sell price for food is pretty good. 48 gold apiece. But also going to be having to make these champions from those 3 relics. If there's a civ you're going to maximize those 3 relics, it's going to be the Aztecs. And I don't even know if I'd upgrade to the champion upgrade. The champion upgrade I think is like, what is it, like 400 gold or something like that. Alright, another big raiding force on the bottom right. Looks like these barracks have been cleaned up. Although again, we need to see some siege to take down these buildings. On the bottom side, pretty big stalemate. Looks like Nicov should be able to hold that hill. And we got a trebuchet on top of the castle. That's what I'm talking about. This is so important. This is the only thing that's going to be able to take down these buildings. Looks like that raid was unsuccessful. But this is where I'm watching right now. And let's see how these 2-handed swordsmen do. Xiaofan's going to muster up the gold for 2-handed swordsmen. And you know what? Nicov is going to say, I'm going to muster up the gold for elite camel archer. And now that decision to go into 2-handed swordsman doesn't look too smart. So military, we have 40 versus 80. We have double the military for Nicov. Should be able to keep his trebuchet up. As long as he keeps his trebuchet up, Nicov will be at a good position, possibly to close out the game. I mean, there isn't just like one big raid. And taking down this castle does so much. take down the castle, take the hill, park a trebuchet here, and clean up all these military production buildings. And create a great avenue to do some raiding. Oh boy, no more villagers on that farm. This is another big raid for Nicov. It shows how much army he has, that he's able to defend his trebuchet and raid at the same time. This is going to be a huge raid. At the same time, we do have a pikeman push in the north. Where are these villagers going? Nicov, where are you going? Build a lumber camp down at the bottom. However, these are just pikemen. They're not eagle warriors. Both players losing a lot of villagers. Xiaufan's villager number is pretty critical. He's down to 60 villagers. He's losing so many to this raid. And I don't think he's reacting. He should have garrisoned all of those villagers into the town center. He probably hasn't seen it. That raid's going to end the game. It's 50 villagers only for Xiofan. That's critical. 80's okay if you're Nicov and your opponent's at 50. Especially if your only army composition is skirmishers and hussar. Alright, Nikov's got this game. I'm sure of it. I think that trebuchet did eventually get taken down. But that raid's going to be it. It's 45 villagers only for Xiofan. And that's going to be the good game. I'm 100% sure of it. No, super great comeback from Xiofan coming, I'm sure. Xiofan did a good job. I think... Okay, like, early game, Nicov had the edge. Nicov went into Knights. Knights countered the Eagles. I think going into Eagles was a big mistake for Xiofan. I think just the earliest part of the game where I think there were some mistakes. I think going to Men-at-Arms, he only made 3, should have made 5, and taken down that early staple so long ago. Should have taken down that staple, should have lost those villagers when he built the tower. Then shouldn't have transitioned to Eagle Warriors, because I think the Knights would have easily cleaned that up, and they did. We saw Camel Archers. We had a good early Imperial Age from Xiofan, but that's where the Aztecs really thrive, is that early Imperial Age. Eagle Warriors were great. Xiofan made a few mistakes, not attacking the trebuchets with the Onager. Could have been quicker on taking down those castles. That should have been a big priority. Did a great job securing the gold on the right side, but didn't see that gold on the left till very late. And Nicov just holding, raiding with his great army. And that's going to be the game. Let's speed up. Let's go 75 speed. And also, that Siege Onager upgrade not paying itself off at all. Not at all. You have to be very wary when you make the Siege Onager upgrade. If you have the resources for it, great. But is it really going to be worth it? In most circumstances, it's not. Maybe in a few, you're going against archer-heavy civilization, then it'd be worth it. If this was not the case, those Hussar are just going to get around the Siege Onager almost every time. And Xiaufan's at 25 villagers, and he's still going. The Chinese, I guess, are known for hanging in there, but there we go. It's going to take Xiofan going down to 22 villagers to admit the defeat. Take a look at the achievements. I hope you enjoyed that game. How come they rarely use bombard cannons in these high-rated games? They're high damage mobile and have enough range to take down castles. So you have to have you have to make the bombard cannons worth it to be able to use them, because the bombard cannon is the most expensive siege unit in the game. It's more expensive than a trebuchet. So what can a bombard cannon do that a trebuchet can't do in this situation? And that's nothing, because the Aztecs are all infantry. The bombard cannon won't be able to take down any archers like you'd like it to. It could take down some siege onagers, but the hussars are good enough for the Berbers that they don't need to go into bombard cannon. It's too expensive. Not worth the cost. Better KD ratio for Nicov. Let's take a look at that relic gold. It was 3 versus 2. A lot more relic gold for Xiofan. There we go. And here's your timeline. Pretty back and forth game. Hope you enjoyed it.